Hey, Becky. I am so excited to have you here with me today. And what I would love to do is, Becky, we've worked together on building your business.
Hmm.
And what I'm hoping to do is just chat with a few of my past clients to have them share a bit more about their experience of actually building their business because I think there's a lot of misconceptions, and I think it can be really helpful to hear other people's experiences about what the journey has been like. So I'm just going to go through and ask you a few things, and I would love for you to share a bit more so people can hear what your journey was like with building your business. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. So, if you want to start by just giving us a tiny little introduction of who you are and what it is that you do with your business, that would be perfect.
So my elevator pitch is I'm Becky Longacre. I'm a nurse gone health coach. I help high performing givers master their lives through happy, healthy, sustainable weight loss and empowered decision making. So I have been a nurse for 18 years, and in our current healthcare system, as we were chatting before the video, we were chatting about how our healthcare system is focused on dependency. So you have to take the pill in order to stay well, or to achieve baseline. Not even achieve wellness, but just to go back to baseline. So that gets tiring and not inspirational after a while when you're a nurse,
Yeah.
and you want to see people get well. I also have my own personal journey that I pull from. So, history of ulcerative colitis, being almost obese, having anxiety that was out of control, having chronic back pain all day, every day. So, I pull from my clinical experience and also my personal experience. I went on to get my master's in health leadership and weight loss specialist certificate so that I can help people from different angles. Um, but really, my business journey comes from a desire to help people achieve health results.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. And I hear this a lot because I work with a lot of people who are working more in the conventional medical system. And once you start knowing more about like health and holistic health and all that, it can be very challenging because it just feels, I would say, kind of very limiting or incongruent with what you believe in as far as how
Hmm.
we're practicing. So,
Yep,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, what I think a lot of times there's a lot of misconceptions around just building a business and what it takes and how easy it is and how quickly it happens. And so I would just like to hear even a little bit about um I mean starting with what are some of because I think it's helpful to talk about like what are some of the challenges that you found with building a business?
So, first of all, I needed to give myself permission. And you've talked about this. So, you have talked about this a lot in terms of you have to have your own back.
Yeah.
Um, so, I had to give myself permission. So the husband couldn't give me the permission. The employer wasn't going to give me the permission. I have to give myself the permission to be an empowered person and start a business. And then once I gave myself permission, I had like this spiritual experience where I felt like my soul like left my body, and I
Mm.
felt like suddenly very light, like, oh my God, like that's the answer. And I know deep down, even though we have self-doubt, and even though some of us are self-sabotaging at times, I know deep down that I have this skill set and I have the ability to open and run a business. So the first challenge was giving myself permission. And I would say the next challenge is just getting through the employee mentality, moving through that to the I am my own person now. And it's really scary because I am not necessarily guaranteed a paycheck if I don't have, a client load.
Yeah.
but it's wonderfully empowering. So there's the flip side of it's scary and also empowering, moving through self-doubt and the imposter syndrome, where is, when I started to get a client load and I started to get money from the business, there was like this intrusive thought that's like, you're a fraud. Like, what are you doing?
Mhm.
And and every once in a while, those thoughts do come back. It's not like they don't come back. But we had talked a little bit earlier about how it's my job to just recognize the thoughts for what they are so that I can just move forward and take the next action anyways. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't matter ultimately how I'm feeling. If I take the action, I'll get the results that I want.
definitely, definitely. And how has it gone with the clients that you've worked with, and how has kind of that has that imposter syndrome shifted for you as you've worked with people?
Yes. So the imposter syndrome is less loud, I would say. Um, but I don't know that it will ever truly go away. So,
I would like to
but
tell you yes, but like I just don't think that's a reality for anyone. So
right, right, and that's okay, but it's become less, my clients get really, really great results. And so every time they get a result, it's sort of like reassurance, that I can help people transform their lives. And
yeah.
so I guess the imposter syndrome gets a little bit quieter as time goes on, but yeah, it has not completely gone away.
Yeah, yeah. And you said you've had a number of clients who have worked with you multiple times, which I think
Yeah.
is a huge testament to the work that you're doing. If someone wants to
Yeah.
continue working with you, obviously they're finding what you do very valuable.
Right. And
Yeah.
you have repeat clients too, because I am one of them.
Yes, I've had repeat clients too. And yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it's huge. I think that and like testimony or obviously testimonials, but also if you're getting referrals and stuff too, like all huge testaments to the work that you're doing. So
Mhm.
yeah. Um what, because I know like one of the big challenges that a lot of people face is marketing and how to get clients. And so I know this is always like kind of a never-ending ongoing journey, but is there any I think like lessons you've learned as far as marketing or things that you personally have found most helpful or ways that you have liked to market that
Mhm.
you want to share?
Yeah. Um, one of the messages that you've really helped me with is to be authentic. So I don't need to pretend to be someone that I'm not, and I'm actually going to have better results if I just be my truest self, as opposed to being this social butterfly extrovert person that I'm just not.
Yeah.
Um, and so being authentic is helpful. And then for me, and I feel like you've said this before too, it's just a matter of putting yourself out there. You just got to put yourself out there and then you make an offer. It's really quite simple. It's
Yeah.
just like the head games that we play with ourselves sometimes, like for me, I have a phobia of public speaking. And so I just have to move through that over and over and over again in order to get myself in front of more people so that I can simply talk with enthusiasm about how I help people, make
Yeah.
an offer. If they're ready, that's great. If they're not ready, then I just move on. So being able to handle rejection, I think, is very helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's part of the personal development journey that we must walk in
Yeah.
order to grow a business. So part of you're gonna get rejected. People are gonna say your prices are too high. People are gonna not see what it is that you have to offer. And I think just being really confident in what you do, if you do provide a transformative service,
Hmm.
then it's okay if people are not ready to invest with you. You just move on. And
Yeah.
so the ability to handle rejection is also very helpful.
Yeah. 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 I think, I mean, I was just doing some reflecting on this too. And I think this fear of rejection like goes back to even like when I was growing up, right? And we get rejected by friends or like,
Mm,
not being the popular person or cool person or whatever. So like
right.
once putting yourself out there in a business and marketing is not something that most people do in their everyday life, like putting yourself out there in that way.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
you are putting yourself out there in a way to get rejected potentially, right? People say no or not be interested or, whatever. And
Right.
um, learning how to not make that mean anything about you personally or like
Right.
something's wrong with you or you're not good enough or whatever is a huge huge lesson to learn
Hmm.
that I think is super helpful, not just in business, but also in relationships, whether it's, relationships with your partner or family or
Hmm.
friends or, whoever. So
Yeah.
that's a
You,
tricky one. And you're like
yeah,
volunteering to put yourself out there for that when you have a business. So
right. 100%. You had said in the group coaching program one time that you focus on the program. This is the program that I offer. So it's not me getting rejected, to sort of like depersonalize it a little bit.
yeah,
And so that's what I do. Like this is my program. Yes, I believe 100% my heart and soul in the program,
yeah,
but it sort of like removes your self-esteem from it a little bit. They're rejecting the program. Okay.
yeah,
Like I don't need to take that into my self-esteem, you know?
yeah, definitely. Huge
Yeah.
lesson.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you either like the biggest lesson you've learned or how building your business has changed you personally. And I don't know if it's the rejection piece or if there's anything else you want to add on that, but I don't know if anything comes to you when I ask that.
Yeah. Um, the biggest, how I've grown the most or what I've learned the most.
Maybe like how building your business has maybe changed you
Hmm.
personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I truly believe that like I am living um, in celebration all the time. That doesn't mean that I'm like happy all the time. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that I'm sad at times. But I know that on my deathbed, I am not going to regret opening a business. I
Mm,
know that I am putting myself out there. I am growing. Um, I know that I'm going to have no regrets in this area. And it does mean that it takes commitment. So I do need to think about like if I say yes to everything, and this is something that I tell my clients too, if I say yes to everything, whether it's family, friends, business, hobbies, then I say no to everything.
mm,
I have to say yes to what I truly want to do. And that means that I have to say no to some other things that I want to do. So I don't know if that answered your question clearly, but I truly believe that I'm like living my best life
yeah.
in opening a business,
Yeah.
truly.
Yeah. I think that's huge. I mean, you always say like when people get to their deathbed, like what is their biggest regret? Usually it's like the life unlived, right? Like not
Right,
doing things that we wanted to do. And I think that's so important to think about it. It isn't, oh, I tried something and I failed at something. Like that's not what someone's biggest regret is. It's like I didn't even try this to see what would happen.
right, right, because of fear.
Because of fear, yes, of what
Right,
would happen. But then you're missing out on all the good things that could potentially happen too by never even
right.
trying. So, uh,
100%. Yeah.
yeah, that's a big one. So, one other question I have is, has working on building a business rippled out to your life or people in your life in any way that you have noticed or seen?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
So, I come from a place of codependency. So a lot of nurses are codependent. A lot of healthcare workers are codependent, which is you tell me what my value is. I don't know what my value is until you tell me.
Mm,
Or I cannot say no. I don't have boundaries. And opening a business has forced me. So I started doing a whole lot of personal work before I opened a business, which is sort of where the business came from.
yeah,
But opening a business, so it forced me to tell my husband without apology, this is what I'm doing. Because nurses, we make a fair amount of money, you know?
yeah,
And so to walk away from that, and I'm still in transition, I still work per diem as a nurse,
awesome.
but to walk away from that is like a financial rolling of the dice, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But so that it shifted my relationship with my husband so that we're more partners now. I
Mm,
feel like there's more of a give and take with my husband now.
yeah,
It shifted my relationship with my son because, you know, mom is doing something right now. I can help you after I do this thing. Or it's also helped with my son because I have the flexibility to work from home. So, like, I can arrange my schedule around my kids' end of school day, but it's improved my relationship with my kid because he has learned boundaries too. Like I've taught him boundaries with myself too. I
yeah,
am not available to everybody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year because I have something to do. You know, like it's impacted my relationship in a very positive way. But what I will also say is becoming empowered also means that the people that can't handle it fall away from your life.
mm,
So, friends that had like no idea what it was that what I'm trying to do, because people
yeah,
don't understand unless they have opened a business or they're going through the process themselves, they don't understand what it is that you're doing. And some people, because they can't do it themselves, they have a whole lot of negativity to say to you
yeah,
about you doing it.
yep,
And so some people have just like sort of fallen out of my life because of the empowerment, but that's not a bad thing. Even though it's sad, it's not necessarily a bad thing.
yeah, yeah. That is a huge one. Huge,
Yeah.
huge, huge, huge. And I think it goes back to what you were saying before too, as far as like being intentional about what you say yes or no to, and um, in your life so that you're deciding as opposed to like your life just kind of being decided for you by other people or circumstances or whatever.
Right.
Um, super, super, super powerful. And I think also a testament to when we do our own work, it
Mm.
impacts everyone around us.
Yeah. The ripple effect.
Totally. Totally.
100%.
Yeah. That's
Hmm.
awesome. I love that so much. Makes me very, very happy. Um,
And you have given me lots of guidance in that area.
yeah, good. I mean, I found that too. Like it's when I first started my business and kind of going into holistic health and stuff too, people are like, "Oh, what are you doing? It's so weird." And no one really understood it. And then, but I have found like so much of it, whether it's like even health ideas or personal growth ideas or whatever, has like rippled out to everyone around me too, as you
Mhm.
just kind of live it, even if people don't really get it in the beginning, but just by you like being a certain way and doing things
Hmm.
a certain way, like it kind of people see that and it impacts them too.
And it empowers them too.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Any like advice that you would have for someone who is either thinking about starting a business or maybe they're in the process and they're feeling frustrated or they're like not sure? Any words of wisdom that you would want to share with someone?
I would say um, take time and be quiet so that you can think about what it is you are doing.
Mm,
So there are some entrepreneurs that go from one thing to the next to the next. And like you said, there are entrepreneurs that get influenced by what works for other people.
yeah.
So sometimes we play head games with ourselves in terms of this worked for Susie Q, therefore it must work for me. So
Yeah.
I would say get quiet with yourself. I mean, I'm a big proponent of meditation and just getting quiet so that you can listen to what it is that you're doing in your business, first of all, because it's very helpful to have a focus. When I first had this business idea, it was like an enormous scope. And then I pared it down, I pared it down, and pared it down. It's also helpful to know when to pivot, so or to know when to adapt in terms of if you've changed or if your client base has changed or your client needs have changed, it's helpful to know when to pivot. And I would say accept that you're going to have self-doubt, you know, accept that you might have a little bit of the imposter syndrome, and still do the things anyways. And I would say get some coaching because the coaching will move you forward. Because what I've learned in working with you is that most of what I'm doing, I am on track with most of what I'm doing. I do have a good sense of intuition. I just need sort of like some guidance. I need to like help with steering the ship a little bit so that I continue to move forward. So I would
Yeah.
say accept the self-doubt is going to happen, accept the imposter syndrome might happen, and still do the action anyways. And, you know, if deep down you know that you can do it, then just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say like the price to having a business or a successful business is discomfort. And so
Yeah. Yep.
sometimes a lot of discomfort, for most people, a lot of discomfort. And so you have to be willing to pay the price in order to make it happen. But I think when you are, it's well worth it as, you know, all the things
Yeah.
you've shared and how it's changed you in your life. Like it's a testament to all of that, which I think is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing all of that. And anyone who's interested in finding out more about you and what you're up to and what you're doing, and they want to follow along with your journey, can you share where people can find you?
So I have a YouTube channel, Health Transformers Maine, where it's about weight loss, personal development, and inspiration for healthcare entrepreneurs.
Okay.
I have a Facebook page, Health Transformers Maine, and I have a website, Health Transformers Maine. I'm located in Maine.
I was gonna say, I forgot that you were in Maine. Where are you in Maine?
Yeah.
Where
So,
in Maine?
Central Maine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect. I haven't
Yeah.
really been central. I've been Portland, Maine. My husband's sister lives there, so we've been there a few times, but
That's
it's
cool.
beautiful.
Yeah. It is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. I will share the links to all those because I know it's hard to type them in and stuff. So,
Right.
but thank you so much, Becky, for sharing all of that. I know people will find it super helpful. I think it's really nice to have like a peek behind the curtain of what the journey actually is, as opposed
Hmm.
to a lot of the marketing that is just telling people what they want to hear, as opposed to what's real. So,
Right. 100%.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you very much, Becky. And yeah, we'll be in touch soon.
Sounds good.